What's going on, guys? This is Marciea here with another episode of the LadyStrong Fitness. And today I have April, member of the month, Candace Shaw. Candace has been a part of our community. I want to say like 2.5 years, 2 years, 2.5 years. I
I'm
feel
not a
like you're an
very good
OG.
counter.
Yeah. Either way, Candace and I, we're going to talk about her overall fitness and wellness journey and what the future holds, not only just for Candace, but also for people who've been a part of that community for just as long as Candace has.
So the big question is this. How were two women who didn't cheat and purchase a gym franchise model, how were they able to spread their mission and purpose by empowering and transforming hundreds of women's lives through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability with a micro gym business model of women only? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. We are Lady Strong Fitness.
So Candace, how are you today?
Good, very good.
Good. So I know who you are, but for our audience that's tuning in today, if you could please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am over 40. I guess I'll start with that. A mother of one. I recently moved to the area about 2 to 3 years ago, as you mentioned, and since I moved to the area is how I found Lady Strong. Definitely liked the setup. And the offer of the various challenges to keep, a person like me focused. So that, pretty much drew me into the gym. And the change that I've seen over time is helped or has helped me kind of continue with the community.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. By the way, you are damn good for your age. So I love it. So I guess prior to us starting recording this episode, we were talking about your overall fitness and wellness journey. And this question I want to start with is what keeps you motivated continuing? Because by the way, you work out consistently about 4, if not 5, sometimes 6 days per week. I know you're giving your body some grace now, but how do you maintain that consistency? Because I know some people, they can get kind of fatigued and frustrated, and it's the continuous process. Like, what keeps you motivated? I'm curious.
Okay, well, I'm definitely just a disciplined person by nature. I think it may have a little bit to do with just my background or leadership capabilities that I have that discipline, but also knowing where I come from. I know, what the scale used to say. I know what my body, used to look like. I know what my bra size was, meaning my back. So that kind of keeps me going for sure, because I don't want to get back there. And the fact that I've gotten rid of those clothes now so that it's not a crutch, I have no choice but to continue it, but I also enjoy it too. It gives me a level of satisfaction and wholeness when I've completed a workout, whether I see the scale move or not. Like, that's not necessarily the win for me. It's just how I feel after I've worked out. So it kind of keeps me going throughout the week.
I love that. Now, what is your goal moving forward? The scale doesn't matter to you. What matters most to you right now and where you're at in your journey?
For me, it's the way my clothes fit, for sure, as well as just the definition that I see, whether it's in my legs, abs, and then just knowing that I'm constantly achieving a different PR in certain moves. That's what really drives me.
Yeah. And for most of people that I know what a PR is, but if you could tell, what is a PR?
So for that, it's really, when you can, I know there's a word for it. I can't think of the
That's all right. Personal record. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, it's a professional. So just your personal record of movement. So if you've, achieved 3 to 4, reps in a certain, that's a new. Some PRs could be just one lift at a certain weight. So it really, depends on what you're looking for. For me, I look for 3 to 4 in the range. Like, I'll celebrate that one hit. That's wonderful. But I like a 3 or 4 or 6 even at one weight. And that's kind of where I would break out my notepad. Now you guys have the app. Like I said, that's a change from where you guys started. And I believe I had given that feedback too. Like, man, this piece of paper keep it. It's a little tough, but now that I can have it in the app and I can refer back to it, I can constantly see my growth and development.
I love that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because if I had a guess, I would say not everybody is utilizing the app and taking advantage of it.
I will give you that feedback. There's several times after class, especially the Stronger class, which was another ad. I've talked to some of the ladies, how was your last class? And they're like, I don't know. I think I lift the same. And I'm like, so you don't have a way of, you're not measuring it? And they was like, yeah, no. And I'm like, oh, well, we have that, the app was just recently added. And I kind of shared it when I'm like, okay, if they don't, a lot of people probably don't know how to use it or how good it is, especially for me, you can start it and it stays open the entire hour of class. It doesn't refresh. It doesn't close out. I don't have to keep putting in my password. It's open the entire time.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because, we provide a lot of resources that people don't take advantage of. And maybe that is due to lack of communication or just a lack of knowledge that people know. So for people that are tuning in today and you find yourself stuck and you ask yourself, what type of measurements or data are you collecting like Candace does when it comes to doing the Stronger classes and being able to track her personal records as far as how her movements and how much she's lifting. And if she's progressing week after week. So if you are finding yourself stuck and you need help, ask. We all on the Green Squad team, we are all knowledgeable on the app and we'd be more than happy to assist you on that. And Candace, I'm so glad that you are taking advantage of that. I guess my next question for you is, and we have to be very vague here, and here's why. We just recently introduced a new service inside our community, and we're actually beta testing it right now. And you're one of our beta tests. Now we're going to be launching it in May, so we can't give too much information. But what we can say is that this is going to help a lot of people and serve a lot of people inside our community. And just if you could share some of your overall feedback. And I know it's kind of vague, but what can you say to get the women excited moving forward in May of what, some of this may entail?
So I think if you were ever wondering, like outside of cutting back on calories, what else can I do when I hit those plateaus or I hit that frustration? Like that's where I was. And so to be able to set up that call with my coach and kind of talk through my frustrations and they found a solution for me was kind of the start of the win, and we hadn't even started the program yet. So I think if you're stuck in a rut, and I started doing all sorts of research on my own, trying to get out of that stuck rut, that this was actually solving for that. So you can't always believe what you hear on the internet, and there's so many different things. Like I thought eating oatmeal was the wrong thing to do after I did so much research. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not right information. So to go to somebody or have someone who is very knowledgeable about nutrition and can work out a solution when they hear your problem was kind of the excitement that I have looking forward to. And the up downs with my glycemic, solving for all of that, like the hunger pains versus the full pains. You name it, they were able to address it. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited for you. And I would love to spill the beans, and unfortunately we can't. But what I would like to do is when we do launch this new service that Candace has beta tested alongside several other people inside the community, I'd like to bring you back on to share your overall experience. And like you said, you barely started yet, and you're already excited for what's to come. So I'm eager to see what the next 6 to 8 weeks looks like for you. So with that being said, Candace, and we're going to keep this short and simple. I always like to ask each person that comes on the episode is that if you had to give any advice to anyone that's tuning in today, if it's someone that's perhaps on the fence about joining LadyStrong Fitness, not even joining LadyStrong, just starting their fitness and wellness journey, what would that advice be? And also for someone that's maybe a part of the community, and like you said, that's maybe stuck in that run, what would be your advice for them as well? So we're kind of talking to two different people here.
Well, I would first start with saying God wants you to be happy and healthy. How do you do that?
I love that.
That's something that's on my vision board. And that's kind of something that a motto that I've stuck to. And then I'm sure you want to be happy and healthy for your family, you know, for your kids especially. So whatever it is that motivates and drives you, that's the start. And then to keep it going is going to be a matter of how disciplined are you, you know, to see those results through, whether it's your nutrition or going to the gym. Like, pick one and at least start being disciplined on one or the other, right? But just understand that your results may be slower if you're not doing both. But if you want to just start a discipline plan, that would be the start, is either being disciplined and going to the gym consistently, certain number of days, certain number of hours, or eating healthy for, you know, a certain number of days, a certain number of hours. Like, get that discipline on lock first. And then what was the second part?
Yeah, I think honestly, what you said kind of caters to both people. For someone that's new, that's thinking about on the fence of even starting their fitness wellness journey, or someone who's even frustrated. The way you put it is like it could serve both parties, and I like that. I love that a lot. Now, what I'm taking away, and I just want to kind of wrap things up here from talking to you, and I think I'm learning something as well. And I think we share a lot of commonalities. And number one is that I'm just as passionate about my fitness and health as well, like you are. And number one, the consistency is, you know, the biggest piece and why you're so successful. And number two, after speaking to you, what I got is that collect the data. You don't know what you don't know. Take the guesswork out of it, right? So by tracking your, you know, personal records, or how much you lift, or doing the in-body scans, not just, you know, every other month, but every 30 days, you know, to be consistent with tracking that data. And then alongside finding a coach to help you. Again, you don't know what you don't know. Like, again, I can't spill the beans, but like I said, Candace is now kind of reached that point where she has someone to kind of assist her to get to that next level. That's just me personally, what I took out of it. And I'm hoping that you were able to take the same thing as well. Candace, did I forget anything? Is there anything else that you would like to mention, talk about, anything whatsoever? I'd be more than happy to hear.
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Outside of just the workouts and stuff, like for me too, it was check what you're doing outside the gym from a physical standpoint. That was something that I had come to the realization of, is getting just the extra steps throughout the day sometimes will help, where you don't necessarily have to change your nutrition too drastically, especially if you have a sit-down job like myself. You have to figure out other ways outside of the gym to remain active. Sometimes coming the perfect opportunity to throw in some more of that active, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just simply walking at, you know, a good pace without, you know, trying to hurt yourself. You don't have to run, you don't have to take up jogging. That additional mobility outside the gym is definitely a game changer before you start like drastically cutting calories and going into like these super deficits. It's the only thing I think of, because that was my aha moment as well. As long as I've been in the game, my mobility has truly came to a halt with this new role that I'm doing. So that's the piece that I really have to focus on more. And so if you're in my same position, you have to take a look at that too.
Yeah, I think since the world has changed since 2020, a lot more people do work from home. And I want to share a story that made me think about you, because you said you work from home, is getting that daily expenditure and not just working out and then that being it. It's more or less like making sure you're hitting those thresholds every single day and getting your 10,000 plus steps in. So the story I have for you is there was a woman that I actually worked with not that long ago who had a desk job. And it was a standing desk that she had, but the only activity she was getting was 3 times a week workout, and that was it. And she was getting frustrated because she wasn't losing weight and she wasn't hitting that daily expenditure and getting those 10,000 plus steps in. So the little piece of advice that I gave her is like, why don't you invest in yourself and get, like, since you have a standing desk, why don't you invest in like a walking treadmill to go underneath your desk? And she's like, that sounds like a great idea. And she did just that. She invested in herself. She got a treadmill on Amazon. I think it was maybe for $150 at the most. And the next week she ended up losing like 2.5 pounds just by adding that little bit of tidbit, right? So it's like, it's so important. And maybe for you, Candace, maybe if that's something you would like to do, you know, you can do the same as well. But now
it's in the cart.
All right.
It's in the
I love
cart
it.
now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. But like I said, it's so important. Like it's nice that it's starting to get nice outside now. So that way, walk your dogs, walk your kids, go for a walk by yourself, whatever. But I'm glad that you mentioned that. So it's not just what you do inside the gym, it's also what you do outside of the gym. So I would like to end it there. Drop the mic. A lot of knowledge, just a lot of knowledge that Candace has thrown your way. So with that being said, Candace, it's a pleasure to talk to you as always. And ladies,
Well.
thank you. Yes, ladies, thank you so much for attending another episode of the LadyStrong Fitness. Have a blessed day, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or whatever your favorite place is to listen to podcasts. And if you really liked this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.